Okay, welcome to the Booked and Brewed Book Club, the podcast where we talk about your favorite brews and talk about our favorite books. I'm Alex.
I'm Theone.
And I'm Melina, and we're so glad you want to talk about books with us. Thanks, everyone, for being here. And for today's episode, we're going to be talking about Iron Flame.
Yes. So before we begin, I just want to give a quick intro into our guest today. Unfortunately, Amanda couldn't join us today, but she will be here next week. So we do have a guest, which is our other cousin, Theone. We're so excited to have her on the show. She is a big reader as well.
I am.
Theone, do you want to give a quick overview about your favorite book? Just a little bit about yourself?
Okay, so honestly, very repetitive, but I'd have to say, one of my favorite books has to be Throne of Glass as a whole. Could be Heir of Fire, maybe. I am just, such a sucker for Sarah J. Maas' Throne of Glass. Mm-hmm. Everything there. I kind of started reading more in COVID. So all of those COVID book talks got me. I love Throne of Glass. I love the Elfheim
Cruel Prince.
Cruel
Yeah.
Prince. I love Cruel Prince. Unpopular, but that's kind of just my reading thing. Right now, I'm reading Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman, which I'm getting into it. It's taking me a second, but it's good. I do like it. So I guess that's me.
Nice.
Okay, great.
Perfect. So you kind of already got into what book you're reading.
Mm-hmm.
So all the brew that we are drinking.
We're all drinking champagne.
Woohoo!
Mm-hmm.
We are celebrating just being together
In
as
this
a family
beautiful place.
in Greece. Yes, it's
Yeah.
not a backdrop. We're sitting on the roof.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Melina, what book are you currently reading?
So I'm currently reading 3. I'm listening to Dead Med by Frida McFadden. I'm reading Guild. I don't remember the author, if you remember. Raven something?
Raven Kennedy.
Raven Kennedy.
Yes.
And then I'm also reading Beach Read. Yeah, and they're both, all 3, they're good. So I'll reserve judgment until I finish. And Alexandra?
So I'm reading the 4th book in the Cursed Legacy series. If you guys remember a couple weeks ago, I was telling you that my sister-in-law told me all about it. 4th book is really good. It just feels kind of like a means to an end sort of book. I'm just ready to get through it and on to my next read. But yeah, stay tuned. I should have a new book next week, which I'm pretty hyped about.
Okay.
So Melina, you want to give us a summary?
Okay, so my summary, I know last week it was probably not very good and a little drawn out, so I'll try and keep it more concise. I'm just going to read some bullet points. So Iron Flame, it picks up right after Fourth Wing. So Violet survived the War Games and the Venom and Wyvern attack, and she realizes that they're real. And she's still super upset from Xaden's betrayal and that he kept the truth from her. And she's just trying to process it and figure out what to do about it, and she can't tell her friends. So then Bestgaith is worse than ever because we have Vice Commandant Barish. I think it's Vice Commandant.
Mm-hmm.
But he's brought in to break Violet, mentally and physically, and he's ruining a whole lot of stuff, and it's very stressful. If you've read Order of the Phoenix from Harry Potter, it gives a lot of that Umbridge stuff. It's
Yeah.
I don't know. If,
They're
yeah.
painful Umbridge.
Yeah.
It's difficult. And then we also see the introduction of Liam's sister, Sloane, who absolutely hates Violet at first. But Violet's I'm not going to be swayed by this. I made a promise to your brother, the guy who sacrificed his life for me, that I'm going to help you, so that's what I'm going to do, even if you don't like it. And then we also see Violet's powers, evolve, and she's honing in on her lightning. And there's a suspicion of a second signet, but we don't really get a lot of information on that. So we see some tension between Violet and Xaden, and as they begin both working with the rebellion a little bit more, and then she ropes in Riddick, Rhiannon, and Sawyer. I think she ropes in Sawyer, right?
Yeah.
And they all help her, and then obviously there's the part where she gets captured and tortured, and Xaden finds her, and that's when they, like, the whole big stuff starts, and they move
That's the
to
stupid part.
Arisha, Tyrandor.
Yes.
Tyrandor.
Yes.
And yeah, and then there's just so much more. I'll just keep it brief. Hang on, let me just,
I feel like that's
okay.
not true.
It's not. So people finally know about the venom and the wyvern, and they're doing something to actually, like, fight them and try and defeat them. And so they're at Tyrandor, and they're still in school, and some of the people went with them and some of them didn't. And then there's attacks, and they're handling it. And then there's the big final battle back at Basgate. And yeah, there's a lot of loss. It's really difficult. We find out that, spoiler, if you haven't already realized this is spoilers, Xaden turned venom. Lilith sacrificed herself.
Yeah. That was emotional.
That was
Yeah. But they end up winning.
Yeah.
And we find out some more about Andarna, and that she can torch a venom.
Yes.
Which is interesting because none of the other dragons can.
Yes.
So we think that's going to be important.
Yes.
Yeah, are there any other important points that I missed?
Oh, okay. So Andarna goes into the dreamless sleep, which
Yes.
is really important, and she becomes an adolescent once she wakes up, and she's a black dragon.
Yeah.
They think she's a black dragon, but then there are moments where Violet will be like, "Oh, it looks like she's blending in
Or
to
she's
the."
iridescent.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there's a different
Yeah.
sheen to
So
her.
she can kind of camouflage herself, which is pretty cool.
Oh, and the ward stones. They have trouble lighting the ward stones
Yes.
to...
Yeah.
with like every type of dragon,
Yeah.
so they have to go
Yes.
and
Yeah.
get them
And
all.
because they don't know that there's a seventh type of dragon,
Yeah.
and then Violet figures out it's Andarna.
Yes.
She's the seventh type of dragon. And they figure it out, and they get that lit, and yeah.
And then the other part is the Griffin Riders. So the Griffin Riders play a really big part. They live outside of the wards. For part of it, there's a prince. He makes a negotiation with Xaden that basically, if Violet can defeat this venom that he kind of sets her up for, they have to take the Griffin Riders back, and he will give them a bunch of, what was it called?
Luminary.
A luminary,
Yes.
which will help them create more weapons to fight the venom. So all the Griffin Riders are coming back, including Xaden's ex-girlfriend. It causes a lot of drama. But yeah, so that's another thing, is that they were always taught to hate the Griffin Riders, and now they have to work alongside the Griffin Riders. So that's kind of a new concept for them. And they implement them into their schooling system so that they're learning everything. And the Griffin Riders also go with them to fight at Basgith. I'm so bad at pronouncing these names. These are horrible. Sorry, guys.
Actually supposed to be pronounced, so.
Help them at the battle there. So there's a lot of different moving parts there. Sawyer also gets his leg bitten off.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's also a big part of it.
Yeah.
He gets his leg bitten off during all this fighting.
But he's okay. He survives.
He'll be okay.
So big spoilers, lots of big spoilers, but the biggest cliffhanger is that wards are up at Basgith. Xaden is now venom, and yeah, that's kind of how we are leaving this. It's all kind of in turmoil.
Oh, and
Yeah.
Jack Barlow is alive.
And that's
and
also,
also
did forget
venom.
about that. Yeah. They take him for capture.
he
So
just comes back.
Yep.
we are kind of all over the place with our summary, but that kind of covers everything. A lot of moving parts to it. Very complicated. So now that we went over the summary, how would you guys rate this book?
Okay, the first time around, I loved it. The second time around, I also loved it, but, so that's, it would definitely be between a 4 and a 5. I don't know if it's a 4 or a 5 or 4.5. I'd have to read it again. I know, horrible, and shocker, but I loved it. Yeah, I thought it was just really well written. There was a lot of character development. I loved the miscommunication and how it just seemed a lot like college-aged kids,
Yeah.
like miscommunicating and handling something bigger than themselves and not really knowing how to handle it. And I think it was just well written. And obviously that's not everyone's opinion, but let's hear from you guys.
Yeah.
Danny?
I would probably give it a 4.
Okay.
I'd probably give it a 4. I definitely think, when this, like, Fourth Wing first came out and the big, like, push with Fourth Wing, everyone was, like, really, really shitting on it and being like, Rebecca Yarros isn't a good writer. Like, that was mostly what was going on, which I think Fourth Wing is not terribly written. I just think she has a different style than your, like,
agree.
average writer. But I do think she grew a lot from the first book to this book when it came to her writing style and when it came to, like, good writing. So I think it is, like, genuinely really, really good writing, better than the first one.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, and I think she grew when it came to storytelling, too. Like, I think, like, the lore in this book is just better than the last one,
Yeah,
frankly. Like, it just, like, runs deeper.
You get a lot more into it.
You get a lot
and
more
you
into
see-
it.
You start to see the roots of the story.
Completely.
And, like, all that, those little things that you didn't notice in the first one. And I suspect they're
They
going to be coming
push
back
through.
more and more.
Yeah.
That's why I say 4, because I, like, have hope for this series. Like, I feel like there's gonna be, like, a knot tied at the end somewhere that it's gonna be a 5. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like that with how it's going so far.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree. I would say like a 4 is pretty on. I would give it like, also want to give it a 3.5. Like,
That's fair.
for me, first book was really easy to understand. I think Iron Flame got really complicated.
That's true.
It did start getting a little more
It got really
complicated.
complicated. I think there were parts where she didn't do a good job of like kind of making it an easy understanding of
That's
all the
totally
different
fair.
complexities to the story. You kind of have to stumble along and just keep with it, and then eventually everything starts to click. But because I read it twice. First time around, Iron Flame was just like, I felt like I was reading a textbook. Like, it was really hard for me to understand to understand it and kind of grasp all the different parts she was juggling. And then second time around, after I kind of read it again, I understood it better. But I feel like for the first time you're reading it, you shouldn't have to reread it to really understand the story.
That's fair.
I get that. And I had a completely different experience. Like, I understood it perfectly the first time. I had no issues. I read it super fast. I was super into it, which I know isn't super common, that not everyone was, like, speeding through Iron Flame, but I absolutely loved it. So,
Well,
Yeah.
I think you read Fourth Wing, and I love that book so deeply, but you don't need to think things when you're reading that book. Like, it's given to you, it's all laid on the plate.
Yeah.
And I do think that's a jump between the two.
Yes.
Like, Fourth Wing, you read it, and you're just like, oh my god, there's
Everything's,
dragons,
like, there.
they're in love.
Yeah.
And then
know
now
what I
you have to
mean?
start connecting
Completely.
dots.
And you didn't have to do that before.
Right.
Which you can, like, there's pros and cons of that. You know what I
Right.
mean?
I think it just kind of really launches her into the world of, like, what a typical fantasy book is.
Completely.
Yeah.
Instead of just, like, spoon feeding it to you.
I do agree.
I think that's like, in my opinion, I think that's where her writing got better, but I think that's where she struggled as an author compared to SJM, right? Like, and that's where I'm always going to go back to, is comparing the two, which is really hard and it's unfair, but they're both fantasy authors. They're both very popular
in very
fantasy authors.
similar genre.
Right.
Like,
So, like,
niches
for
here.
me, like, I think where Rebecca Yarros, yes, her writing does get better. I think her writing gets better, and then the complexity of the story goes, and it's not necessarily hand in hand. And for me, like, I read, again, I didn't like Fourth Wing when I first read it. So I think being like, okay, I didn't like the first book, let me read the second book, and maybe I'll enjoy it. I wasn't putting a lot of effort into, like, trying to connect the dots, and I think that's why I had a hard time the first time. And the second time around, I enjoyed it the first book again, so made it easier. I don't know. That's kind of my thought process on that. So 3.5, because I liked it.
Another thought, just based on the whole, like, connecting the dots, and maybe it's not well written, but I thought it was very good, obviously. But I think that also, if you compare it to, like, Throne of Glass, which I know we haven't done any episodes on, but they're coming at some point.
Yes.
The beginning of Throne of Glass, for me, was kind of, like, really confusing, and I feel like it's the same, and we can't judge it too much based on that because it's an unfinished series. So you have to kind of look at it with, like, that eye that this isn't finished, and we don't know what's going to happen at the end.
Yeah.
And what's going to come back and what's not. And then I think when it's a finished series, we definitely will be looking at it through a different lens.
Oh,
That's true.
100% agree.
Yeah.
But that's a few
I
years
agree.
away. So, okay.
For sure. Stay tuned.
Let's move on.
All right. Favorite parts, ladies.
You go first.
I go first.
Yeah.
Just off the dome, I think my favorite part of this book is this is like a really vague retelling of this part, but is when Xaden and Violet are long distance, right, in a way, and then Violet just like flies to him out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's a
and
good
then
part.
they just have this like reuniting,
Yeah.
and like I
That's
don't
so
know.
great.
Just think that's so
the
cute.
fuck
Like it's
Spike
yeah,
Jacket is that?
really, that part specifically where
Yeah.
he's like jealous about it
Jealous
too,
Xaden.
and she like
Love it.
she ran there. It's just like it just like pulls at my heartstrings. Where
Yeah.
it's like they need to be together.
Yeah.
I like that.
Do you want to go next?
I mean, if you want, no, go for it.
No, you go.
Okay.
I can go last.
All right, my favorite part was when, okay, this is me having like a dirty mind. When they're sitting in the throne room for the first time and he like spreads her legs on the throne and he kind of is just like, I won't bow down to anyone except for you. And I thought that part was like, slay.
Yeah.
Get you a man like that, you know?
Yeah, seriously. A man who's like, no, I'm struggling so much because I need to show you that I love you and you only, and like I'm gonna do it at the expense of my own pleasure.
Yes.
Yes. So that was pretty good. I know this might be also kind of typical, but like the speech when Xaden saves Violet from the torture, and then afterwards Dane's like, do you love this guy? And he's like, because I think I love him after hearing that speech, which I don't remember it, but you know, it's like, I can't live without you and whatever.
Yeah.
So if you read it, you definitely know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Do we want to do a least favorite part?
Yes. Least favorite part was the torture. I know that's really obvious. Sorry, everyone. I don't like it. I never liked it when they get tortured, and like any book. Like I'm not a graphic like I don't like gory things. I don't love like things like that. So like for me, I felt it was really emotional. So that was really tough for me. And I'm not going to spoil other books, but there's a certain series where I think I read that first and then read this, and it really triggered those emotions for me from the other book. So like that was really hard for me. Least favorite part.
You can go next.
Okay. It's kind of difficult. Obviously the torture is like, it's not great, but I think it really adds a lot to the story. So I would probably have to say when
Jack Barlow comes back.
No, seriously. But I think it's when Kat is first introduced to Violet and is like trying to manipulate Violet's head because there's just that shadow of a doubt and she can manipulate the emotions, and that just like I thought that was so frustrating. Like that's not fair.
Yeah.
And because she's like not getting over Xaden, but it's not because she wants Xaden, it's because she just wants the crown. So that frustrated me. I really didn't like that part, but I loved the separate love interest and the past of that.
Yeah,
Definitely.
that's true.
What about you, Theone?
I genuinely think it's when Jack Barlow came back.
That's so valid.
I just hate when you're reading a book and someone's dead and they're not dead anymore. It's like keep them that way. The first book, reading Jack Barlow was so painful. It was just like, get him out of my book. You know what I mean?
And then
Get him out of
when he
here.
died, you're like
cheering. Thank God.
Like,
he left. Like, we don't have to deal with him anymore. And then it's like, oh, he's back. He never died. It's like, well,
why would they decide to bring him back?
Why would you do that? Like, give me a new villain. I'm fine with that. Give me a new bad character, but I have to deal with him again.
Jack Barlow,
But I like that he evoked so much emotion from people that like, how do you not bring him back when it's going to bring so much emotion to the book to begin with? You know, like we always talk about how like a really great book isn't necessarily one you agree with. It's one that brings the most emotion out of people, and it makes it so memorable.
Yeah, that's very true.
But I don't know, ladies, that's a tough one. That's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah. Oh,
favorite quote.
Oh,
You
okay.
wanna go first?
I have a quote.
Yeah, let's
But
hear
it's
it.
a pretty like typical quote. It's the
Okay.
like violence, remember, it's only the body that's fragile. You are unbreakable.
I love
That's a
that.
good
I,
quote.
yeah, I just
I
think
love
it's
it.
like,
I'm all over that.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just so like,
That's cute.
go empower her. That's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
You want to go?
I like when Zayden goes, my house, my chair, my woman.
There are so many quotes that I love in this book, and like a lot of them
Yeah.
are Zayden or Taryn. I love the ones from Taryn. You are currently a prize annoyance. As for losing the Shadow Wielder, she would be emotionally inconvenienced. That is true. About Scale losing Zayden. But I think the best one that I love in this book, and it's not talked about enough, is take one step towards Violet and I'll throw you off this fucking cliff myself. Unlike Ryerson, I don't give a shit who your uncle is. And then Sloane says, I'll do it just for fun. So I love that. Yeah, and then another good one. Oh, and one more thing. When she's saying to Kat, what, she snaps, that trick you mentioned, you know, with the fingers, thanks. So I also thought that was hilarious. I was like, go Violet. That's great.
That's a good one. Also, a fun one is when Andarna says, scratch her eyes out. Really, the eyes are the softest tissue. Just jab your thumbs in there. And then Taryn goes, Andarna, use some common sense. The kneecaps are a much easier target. Like, I just love, like, I think we talked about this in the last episode. I just love, like, Taryn and Andarna's dynamic.
I love
into
their
anything.
dynamic.
Adds a lot of
love the
fun.
banter.
Like, yeah.
It's like an
Yeah.
older sister, a younger sister, and like a
Yeah.
grumpy old dad, and it's
it really
so
adds
fun.
to
Yeah,
it. So
it
those are
does.
really fun. Okay, so let's get into some book club questions. That's really long. Sorry guys,
Let's
we're
do
just
the second one.
the second one. Okay, so Violet helps Liam's sister Sloane survive the parapet. She continues to aid her throughout the book, first with parapet and then during challenges. She even strong-arms Sloane into training with Imogen to improve her combat skills. Do you think that she made the right choice helping Sloane and potentially weakening her wing? Do you think that the method to motivate her letters
With
was Liam's letters was right?
I think absolutely, because okay, so there's a few ways to look at this actually. I think in terms of a friendship, absolutely, because she promised to Liam that she was going to take care of his sister, and that's exactly what she does, no matter what it takes, no matter if she hates her, even if she has to withhold something that Sloane would hold so dear to her, like Liam's letters. And eventually it works out. In the book, she gets a lot stronger and she does a lot better, and it's because of the training and because Violet is like, I don't care, I'm going to help you whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think she made the right choice. I think at the end of the day, like, she just felt obligated.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, especially because at the end of the book, Sloane is the one that is siphoning from Violet's mom to get the Wardstone up and moving, and if that hadn't happened because Sloane wasn't strong enough or something, then we don't know how the book would have ended.
Completely.
And it would have had a completely different, we don't know what would have happened. And so I think it was definitely the right choice. And obviously it could just be like a little convenience, but I still want to look at it as like, she did the right thing and it ended up paying off because Sloane is such a valuable member of their team.
Yeah.
agree with that.
I think at the end of the day, Sloane lost her older brother, and like she needed a big sibling. And even honestly, if it wasn't the right thing, like all Violet was trying to do was be a big sibling, and she did it well. Like even if it weakened people and it like really messed something up, like she wanted Sloane to have a big sibling, and she was like, I'm gonna be your big sister, and this is what I would do, like to make sure that you are where you need to be and you aren't surprised anywhere.
Yeah. No, that's so valid.
Yeah.
And even if Sloane just needed someone to blame, Violet was just okay with that. She's
Yeah.
like, I get you need someone to blame, and even if it's not my fault, I'll let you blame me, and I'm not going to say anything back because you're grieving, and it's easier to blame someone than to think, oh, this just happened by a freak accident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. I think at the end of the day, like, Violet she values her, like, people and her word and, like, her relationships more than she values, like, this is, like, seeing the bigger picture and that, like, this is going to make my wing weak. Or this is, like, this technically isn't, like, the most, like, there's a right way or a wrong way. Like, for her, she just sees the person and, like, she loves Liam. And so for her, it was stepping up and like you said, Theone, like, being that big sister and filling those shoes that, like, she also felt like she could never really fill. Like, you can't really fill someone's, like, shoes, but she's like, you know what, I'm going to do the best I can to make sure that, like, she's in the best position so that I'm not failing Liam and she's not failing Liam either, too. But yeah. The next question, so let's talk about the relationship that General Sorrengail has with her kids. Cause I think,
that's really complicated.
I think it's, like, it is very complicated, right? Because I think, you know, it really explores the different relationships between, like, family, country, like, duty, and humanity. So let's, like, what are your guys' thoughts on it? What do you guys think about the relationship that the kids have with their mom?
I knew as soon as Violet came back from the battle with the Venom, and there's a certain quote in there that's like 1 minute or 1 second, that's all it took for me to know that my mom had no idea and was, like, relieved that I was okay. And that's when I knew, like, her mom doesn't want her dead. Her mom is doing the best that she can, is, like, trying to protect Violet. And I think it's leading to something that we don't know about, like, Violet's dad, and there are a lot of theories, and it's just that in the end, I think that Lilith was trying to protect Violet because going to the scribe quadrant would have gotten her killed because she's so, like, inquisitive, and she would have questioned everything. And she could make a lot of difference in the writer's quadrant. And in the end, she sacrificed herself for her kids. So I think that is definitely a big, like, indicator that no matter the mistakes she made, she loved her kids and she was doing what she thought was right.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're at a point where it's so complicated because we don't know what's happening with their dad. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I'm confused by her because I'm like, I'm angry because I'm like, obviously a lot of these, like, things that are happening with her kids, like, her son is, like, dead, but and then, like, her daughter is, like, struggling. It's, like, her fault, but I feel like there's definitely a puzzle piece there.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that the relationship that she has, like, I think she did what she thought was right for her kids and disguised it as, like, I think she was extra hard on Violet and her kids. I think she knew that's the only way they would be able to survive, right? Because, like, if what we know about Violet's dad, I'm assuming that, like, the love that they have for each other was insane. Like, her parents, she alludes to it a lot. So I think whatever her dad knew, her mom must have known as well. And I think that, like you said, like, I think it was her way of helping her kids survive. And I think, like, all of her kids forcing them into the writers, being so hard on them, kind of not showing favoritism, because in a way she was protecting them from the government, from like, these people. And her family, I don't think, realized that until the end, that she pushed them away so much to protect them that at the end of the day, everything she did was for her kids. Everything and I, in my opinion, I don't think Violet realized that until Sloane kind of came into the picture as well. When it was not to the same extent, but Violet forced Sloane to do so many things she didn't want to do in order to make sure she survived. And that kind of parallels her relationship with her mom, where her mom forced her into the writer's quadrant to make sure that Violet survived, because she knew Violet was the weakest. And if she, like you said, if she didn't, and she found out this information, like, she would probably be one of the first people that would be targeted.
That's true. And she wouldn't have tools to help herself if she didn't know how to protect herself in that situation.
I think that's a really good comparison from Sloane to
I agree.
Violet as Lilith to Violet.
Is this the book where we find out about Xaden and her mom?
Yes.
Okay, so then we can talk about it. So I think, again, like, that just goes to show how much she was keeping an eye out. So if you guys don't know what we're talking about, it's the pact that Lilith...
Wait, let me just make sure you know this.
I know
right?
this,
Okay. Okay. Great.
It's the pact that Lilith made with Xaden to basically make sure that he protects Violet while in...
Well, it doesn't start out that way. It's the the deal that he makes that he's going to take responsibility for all of the marked ones.
Yeah.
And in return, they all get a chance in the Riders Quadrant.
Yeah.
And Xaden owes Lilith a favor at any time. Like, she gets to pick what it is and the timing. And then she picks, watch out for Violet if she makes it across the parapet.
Yeah. And so then that's kind of where their relationship kind of starts growing and things like that. And I think, I think also it's interesting that Lilith, like, she seems like such a tough general, but at the end of the day, like, I really think that I want Rebecca Yarros to explore her a little bit more from beyond the grave, so to say.
Me too.
Because I
agree.
feel like there was more to her, that she sympathized with Tyrander, but in a way that was very disguised.
Yeah.
I personally think she was putting on a mask to try and help her kids.
Yeah.
And again, I hope that it's explored a little bit more, maybe through like letters that she's written to people, but
Yeah.
I want more information about their mom, and I hope they get it at some point.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I agree. I especially like both of their parents together. Like that could be interesting. Like letters to each other or something.
Yeah.
Help us.
Yeah, and I know there's one little excerpt. Is it in this book or the next one?
No, I think it's the next one.
Okay.
I wouldn't,
Yeah, I don't know that.
Yeah. But yeah, so that kind of, I guess, like, covered a little bit about her mom.
Oh no, it is in this book. It's the When I Die.
From her mom?
Yeah, her mom's her
Oh,
dad.
then yeah.
You remember that, right?
I think
When
I
I
do.
die, it'll be because of my kids. Like, it won't be in war. It'll be.
Oh,
in
yes,
service
yes,
to
yes,
my
Oh, okay,
yes,
that
yes,
part.
yes.
I thought you were talking about something else.
That's what I was
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want more stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I have a question for you guys. How do you think that Lilith's deal with Xaden affected Violet's and Xaden's relationship, and how it developed?
Wait, what? What was it?
So, like, how the deal that Xaden made with Violet's mom, how did it affect their relationship, and like how it first developed and how it grew?
I think it's interesting. I feel like when I saw that, I feel like when that first came out, there are people that are like, well, my first thought, sorry guys.
No, you're fine.
Wrap around here. My first thought when I see that is there's so many moments from their early relationship that you're like, oh, they're so in love, like they just can't get away from each other, like, and it's like thinking like, oh, it's like him making a deal with somebody loses that is my first thought, but it makes it more realistic at the end of the day. It makes I think their love story more real, that it's like, do you
This
just
is how it started.
Yeah. Do you just end up around someone? Typically, this guy hates you. You end up around him.
Yeah.
And he like follows you around and tries to like do that. No.
And then suddenly you fall in love.
And then suddenly you fall in love.
Yeah.
No, like it makes more sense that there's a reason. That I think it's a good thing.
a reason that they were spending so much time together anyway.
Completely. Yeah, I think so. That he like had to protect her for this, and then he happened to fall in love, even though it's like not the likely course.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's interesting. I know there's a lot of theories that people are saying that, like, they're, like, Violet and Xaden are representative of the gods, like, certain gods.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I haven't seen that.
So for me, because, like, right, like, the whole thing with her mom being, like, making that deal with, like, or asking him for that favor, and then plus the dragons, you know, conveniently, like, Xaden's dragon is mated to Violet's dragon, right? Like, all of this, like, it's almost like the fates are aligning, and when in books, like fantasy books like this, there's a bigger picture to play.
Yeah.
So for me, like, I don't think that they just happen to fall in love.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's a larger picture here that we just haven't seen yet. I feel like we're getting alluded to a little bit.
Completely.
Yeah. I'm excited to explore that in the next books.
Yes.
Me too.
Definitely. I think it's interesting in this book that, you know, they start a new class called RSC.
Oh, yeah.
And then that's when they go into the field training, and then the whole torture aspect gets
Yeah.
thrown in. Do you think this was like an effective method of preparation for the horrors of the war? And like, to what extent, how useful was this class in reality?
I think that it's, at least the field training, I think was definitely helpful for them, because the best way you learn field training is going to be by doing.
Yeah.
And you have to learn to work with the infantry and I don't know what other...
The healers,
you
the
know,
scribe,
just all of them. You have to learn to work with them. So I thought just throwing them in was good. I don't know how I feel about the torture, but realistically, I mean, any of the riders can go through it, so I guess it's good that they prepared them, but at the same time, this is like a school, and I don't know, I guess I'm comparing it to a typical, like, school you would expect in our day and age, and if they don't do that, like, you can't go around torturing students just because they might end up with, like, information, and I don't know. I think you get what I'm saying. But it's, I understand it, but I don't know if I agree.
Yeah. I think a lot of it also is like the manipulation of students to make sure that if they see anything outside of the words, that at the end of the day, like, they're gonna like listen to their orders.
Yeah.
I think it was a way
agree.
of breaking them down mentally to like, in order for them to like listen and like just listen to orders, and like, even though, you know, the riders are like the crazy ones, the reckless ones, right? Like, I think they still needed to be broken per se.
Yeah.
To ensure that they follow orders
No
and they don't
matter what.
question if they see venom or wyvern and things like that.
Yeah, I don't love it. I feel like when I see something like that, like when you talk about like, do you need to, like, both of these things together, it's like, it reminds me of the real world and like doing like I don't know, places in the real world doing it in wartime, and I feel like we never look on that in good in a good way. And obviously there's dragons and it's not real, but like, I agree with you. I think it's like,
It could have
at
some
the end
truth
of the
to it,
day, it's a good, like, I get what they're trying to do, but I agree with you. Like, I think, like, at the end of the day, when you're trying to make someone react a certain way in response to something really big like that, and not, like, I don't know, do what's true to themselves, or, like, they see venom, they go tell somebody, and they're like, this is bad. Like, I think it's a cover-up.
Yeah.
I think it's a big cover-up.
I had never thought about, and now that it was mentioned, I think that's a really great way to look at it.
Yeah.
I just think torture's always bad.
Yeah.
That's like my motto when I read these books.
torture is bad.
As much as,
but like
it happens.
Sometimes it happens, and
fantasy
it has
books.
Yeah.
and it has its uses, but
Yeah.
it's I think it's great for the plot sometimes, but it's always hard to read. It's hard to
It's
you know. It's just
I can't ever be pro it though. You know.
totally. I'm not pro torture, but
Yeah,
like
no. That's
but like sometimes
but
it has its purpose.
in a fantasy novel like this, like epic fantasy.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, and
In
it's
the
gonna
real
be a
world,
plot
sometimes
point.
it might happen, and that's really unfortunate. And let's not get into that. But
In our
like,
books, it's a plot point.
yeah, it happens in a lot of fantasy books.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I also think it's interesting that like they keep everything so segmented, and like if you like from the scribe quadrant, I thought it was interesting that they are meant to just record.
Yeah.
And I think that really reflects on how much they are trying to suppress knowledge,
Yeah.
because it's not like they're teaching them new things and things like that. It's mainly like, and you know, you always hear like history repeats itself if you don't learn from it, right? And they are trying so hard to suppress history and suppress all these things, and the scribe quadrant is one of the places that they would know.
Yeah.
And scribes are exclusively told, you're only recording. You're only recording things, and like, I think it's interesting to see that like they're so suppressed, and like everything is so segmented to keep information from flowing between the different quadrants.
Completely.
yeah, an additional thought to the scribes is like they're not only taught to record, but they're taught to know the history, not to question it, and to know what they've been told, not to question what they've been told.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just like kind of an additional.
Why Violet wouldn't work there.
Exactly, and that
Yeah.
goes back to
Yeah.
Violet's mom protecting Violet.
Definitely.
We should
What are your...
wrap it up.
Wrap it up? Okay. How many far are we in? Okay. I just want to see what else we wanted to go over.
What about, do you want to talk about the ending with Zayden and if
Yeah.
Oh, with the
you
venom?
were, yeah, if
Yeah.
you were expecting it or...
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Okay, so let's talk about the ending. And that would be Zayden turning Venom to protect Violet. So we're going to talk about this as if Onyx Storm has not happened. No one has read it.
I personally have not
So,
finished Onyx
yeah,
Storm,
so that's why we're
that
just gonna
is
talk
my
about it
actual
like that.
perspective.
So what theories do we have for book 3, and did you see it coming? Or is the important question?
No. Maybe.
Yeah.
A little bit because of the dreams. The dreams kind of alluded to it, I thought, and it was very,
Yeah.
like, on brand, like I felt the dreams were. But I didn't think he'd actually do it. And I think he was in denial about it. But I guess it also goes to show how much he loved her.
Yeah.
That was the extent to which he would literally, like, become the villain for her.
Yeah.
And I always love those tropes.
Me
I'll
too.
be the
I
villain
love
for
it.
you.
Yeah.
You know, and I thought that was a really great example of it.
I
But
But another, like, comparison is, like, if you look at Violet's point of view from the same time period, like, she was going to turn Venom to protect him. So, like, they were
Yeah.
both going to turn villains for each other, and I love that. Like, I just think that is, it's such, it pulls in my heartstrings, so.
yeah.
As a romantic.
That's fair. I don't know. I think I low-key didn't expect it, but I read it and I was like, I should have known that.
Yeah.
Like, obviously
Didn't
they were going
expect
to do
it,
that.
but, like,
And same thing with the
wasn't
dreams. They did the
surprising.
dreams, and I was like, no, they would not do that. Like, Rebecca wouldn't do that
Yeah.
to us. And then I read it, and I was like, yeah.
But
she
I think it's
would.
interesting. Like, why would he, like, I understand why he did it, but it goes against everything they stood for.
Yeah.
And at that point, like, wouldn't you rather, like, yes, I understood why he did it. He died. He, like, did that to protect Violet.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, how do you live with yourself when you've spent your whole life fighting against something for
Yeah.
so long? Like, in my opinion, like, if I were to become Venom, like, you know, and I'm fighting for this for however many years, I've learned my whole life this is what, you're supposed to kill
Yeah.
them. Like, I don't love, like, I love Zayden, and this may be a controversial opinion, but, like, I don't understand why he, all of a sudden, like, our favorite character becomes Venom, and he becomes the exception to everything.
That's
I
true.
think
It's
like so
why does
convenient.
he
Every
get to
single-
be the
like,
exception?
for
That's
me-
true. I agree with that.
For me, it brings into question the, are all Venom bad, or is that just another thing that they're told? Like, Zayden, is he gonna be bad? Is he just gonna inevitably turn bad, try and drain everything, kill everyone, you know, that type
Yeah.
of thing? Or are some of the Venom good, and, like, they just happen in the situation accidentally, and they want to be cured, they're not trying to hurt anybody.
Yeah.
So I think that just brings into question the whole, you know,
Yeah.
is the villain really bad?
Yeah. I don't know. I read that and I'm like, I kind of want him to go bad now. Like, I don't want him to be the exception. I want him to turn evil. I want it to be coherent like that. And then the whole thing, it's like, figure out how to fix that, maybe. Like,
Yeah.
but it makes me
It's
think,
giving
like,
kind of like Anakin Skywalker.
yeah. But Anakin Skywalker turned bad. Like,
Bad.
do it. Like,
Right.
you know what
He
I
committed
mean?
to
If you're
it,
gonna
yeah.
do it, commit. Like, if you're gonna say that the main character is gonna do the thing that turns everybody evil, then make it him evil. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And, like, it might be heartbreaking, but maybe that's what we need. Like, maybe it needs to be heartbreaking.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and I think the next book really is gonna be a more determining factor on if Zayden is like the exception, or if all Venom are bad, or, you know, like exactly what happens and how the story's gonna play out.
Yeah.
Which I'm like 100 or so pages in.
Oh my god.
To Onyx
you need,
Storm.
girl, you need to
And
finish
I
that.
don't know what's happening. I'm like, this is
Yeah.
all new to me.
Yeah. I think, like, once we get more lore,
Yeah.
I think that'll also paint the picture
Agreed.
a little bit, because I have a feeling like Rebecca Yarros is starting to show us that, and again, this is based only on Iron Flame, and I mean, my opinion doesn't change with Onyx Storm, so I'm curious to see how the rest of the series goes. But if she is as good as an author that, like, you know, everyone's talking about, I think she's painting the line that good and bad is not black and white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Definitely.
think that is a really good theme to show throughout the book. And if she's using Zayden to show that theme, I think she could do a lot with it. My fear is that, again, if she only makes Xaden the exception to the rule, then you kind of like, you kind of lose that really good like theming of that, and like you kind of are dropping the book, the story on its face, because like now you're just making it about
as like, well, not that, but you lose like the story loses you if you're like, oh,
It loses the value.
It loses the value.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the big bad. This obviously turns everyone bad, except for our main character, because we don't want him to be bad.
Right.
And
you know
it
what
loses
I mean?
the whole like trope of morally gray shadow
'Cause
wielder,
that's-
and that's
Yeah.
like an important trope. And
morally
the
gray
important
is
trope
good.
is morally gray.
Yeah.
Like it's not black and white. Nothing is black and white,
Yeah.
and I love exploring that.
I
Yeah,
completely agree.
agreed.
Okay, so I think that we should do final thoughts because it's getting kind of dark here.
Yes.
So any more final thoughts?
I have no final thoughts. I thought it was great. I love doing this with you guys, Theoni. Thank you so much for being on the pod.
Thank you guys for letting me do it.
We would love to have you more.
Yes. We will definitely have you more, probably next week. There will be 4 of us, so it'll be
Well,
fun.
as long as you finish Onyx Storm.
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
awkward.
I'll try, guys. If I can't, I'll support you from the background.
And then definitely like Throne of Glass will probably have you back
Yeah.
too.
I love them.
Yeah, we're planning on reread. It's it's gonna be a whole thing.
It'll be a fun thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if there's a specific book or topic you guys want us to review or dive into, definitely DM us, TikTok, Instagram, comment, like, subscribe.
Or comment ideas, whatever.
Oh, that too.
Share.
Yeah. Share, like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah, all
all
those
the fun
ones.
things. We love doing this for you guys, so definitely share the love back. But yeah.
So that's all for today. Thanks for being with us.
Yeah. Until next time, book besties. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.